My name is Heather Stannard and welcome to the Cowichan Valley. In today's Notebook 10 Technique tutorial, we are going to take a look at object transparency. Now, transparency of an object is when you take it from being solid, where you cannot see through that object to what is behind, to being transparent or see-through. On my title page, we have an example with our baseball. The baseball starts out solid, and as it goes through its flight, the transparency is reduced, and so gradually at the end of its path, we can see through the baseball. Let's take a look at the technique. On my screen, I have a collection of objects. Let's take a look at the text first. I've taken the word text, and I've actually got two copies of the word text. The black copy on top, and underneath we have the red copy. If I was to change the transparency of the black text so that I could see through it, I would see the red showing from behind. So to do this, from the drop-down menu, I can select Properties, or I can come over to my side tabs and select Properties here. Fill Effects is selected at the top, and we have Object Transparency shown with a slider to adjust how much we can see through or how transparent we can make that object. We can move it by degrees, and you'll notice each time I move it, we can see more of the red and less of the black. When we have the effect we like, that's where we stop. Now, if I move my imaginary or my see-through black text below, you'll see that I still have the object highlighted or marked with the marquee lines. And again, if I adjust the transparency back to solid, we'll see our text black appear. And I'm going to move it just back on top of our red, slightly to one side. Now, our next object we're going to take a look at is a shape that I used the Shapes tool to draw. And so here we have a rounded rectangle or a rounded square with a purpley blue filling. I'm going to pull it down, and you can see that beneath it, I have an object from our gallery. In fact, it's a collection of mushrooms from our gallery, and I'm going to hide it again. Selecting my rounded rectangle, being on the Properties tab, Fill Effect selected, I can adjust the transparency again to create the effect that I would like to have. In our next example, I have an object from our gallery. I have the Ace of Diamonds. But no, I don't have the Ace of Diamonds, because if I was to actually select the object, you'll notice that the transparency is set to be completely transparent. So let's see what happens when it's set to being solid. Is it the Ace of Diamonds, or is it the Ace of Hearts? In our last example, I have a table at the top of our screen. I can tell it's a table because our handle, our square handle at the top, allows me to move the table around the screen. Down below, I have a picture of a table in which I filled each cell with a picture relating to the frog's life cycle. You can see, maybe a little difficult to see, but I have pairs here. I have frog and frog. I have an adult frog and an adult frog, and I'm going to use my table now to cover up our picture. Each of the cells of the table should correspond with one of the cells of the picture beneath. If I adjust the transparency of the table, I would be able to see the entire picture beneath. But that's not the effect that I'm looking for, so we'll make our table solid again. I am going to now only select one cell of the table, and I'm going to adjust the transparency. And I've now uncovered the word frog. I could continue and allow each student to uncover two cells. If they match, they remain uncovered. If they don't match, then it's up to the students to adjust the opacity again, to adjust the transparency, make it solid, and the next student is able to take their turn. In our final example, we have transparency being used as a trace image where our younger students can trace over a shape once, twice, and each time we could adjust the transparency so that it is less and less visible until finally the students are able to reproduce the shape on their own. So transparency is a very helpful tool in the classroom. It can provide a little bit of mystery and mystique. It can also provide a great way to review facts with your students and to also scaffold their learning throughout the process.